If you're a mid-level to C-suite leader who wants to own your growth and figure out your next small, brave move to achieve your leadership goals, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Small Brave Moves podcast, a weekly deep dive on how to be braver in leadership and in life for exceptional results. I'm your host, Nicole Bianchi, best-selling author, certified master executive coach, NSA certified speaking professional, chief bravery officer, and tough talk expert. If you're ready to become a better, braver, and more authentic leader, let's dive in. Welcome back to the Small Brave Moves podcast. Let's just start here. If your culture feels off, well, you already know it. You felt it in the meetings where people are quiet and they shouldn't be. You feel it when decisions happen after the meeting instead of in it. And you feel it when your best people stop pushing and start leaving. And that's not a vibe issue. It's not a communication gap. That's a leadership problem. And before you turn this off, you, including you in that, I want you to hear the truth. Most people don't say this out loud, and I'm going to. Broken culture isn't usually caused by bad people. It's caused by tolerated behavior, unclear expectations, and conversations that nobody wants to have. And the longer you avoid it, the more expensive it gets. You lose trust, you lose energy, and eventually you lose your best people. Now, the good news is culture can be repaired, but not with a new mission statement, not with a team building day or exercise, not with another initiative that everyone knows won't stick. It gets repaired through brave, consistent, human leadership. And no, you don't need a title or permission to start, but you do have to be willing to go first. And today, we're not talking about theory. I'm going to give you 5 ways to actually start repairing your broken culture. It's not going to fix it overnight, but you're going to start. The first one is defining how you work out loud. If I had to name the number one reason culture breaks, it's this: misalignment. Not bad intentions, not bad people, just misalignment. And misalignment doesn't just happen. It happens when leaders avoid defining things because they don't want friction. So instead, everyone fills in the blanks for themselves. What does good communication look like? What's okay in disagreement? How do we actually make decisions? And everyone guesses. Everyone guesses differently. And then everyone gets frustrated. And then we all act surprised when the culture breaks. And it didn't break. It was just never clearly built in the first place. This is the conversation that most teams avoid, and the one they need the most. And I call it the how we work conversation from 5 Tough Talks. And it sounds like this. Hey, I think we've been operating without clear agreements, and it's just starting to show. And that's on me too. So we're going to reset how we work together. And then you ask, what's one thing that's frustrating you about how we operate right now? And here's the part that most leaders mess up. You don't defend, you don't explain, you don't fix, you just listen. And then you define together how you communicate. How do you want to handle conflict? Because it's going to happen. How should decisions get made? What should accountability actually look like? So you essentially build your rules, rhythms, and routines. And let me be clear about something. Alignment doesn't mean agreement, and alignment doesn't mean consensus. People don't have to like every decision, and that's okay. But they do have to commit to it. There's a difference. And if you don't revisit this regularly, it will fall apart again. Because culture isn't built in a meeting. It's maintained in repetition. So number 2, stop waiting. Lead with small, brave moves. Let me say the quiet part out loud. If you're waiting for somebody else to fix the culture, you are the problem. And I mean that because culture doesn't change when someone at the top makes a speech. It changes when someone in the room decides to act differently in those small moments and not the big ones. It's saying the thing in the meeting instead of after it. It's admitting you were wrong without spinning it. It's asking for help instead of pretending you've got it handled. It's calling out the tension instead of working around it. So these seem small, but they're not, because every time you do it, you're signaling something. You're signaling it's safe to be honest here. It's safe to be human here. It's safe to try. And in a broken culture, that's exactly what people are waiting for. I've seen entire teams shift because one person stopped playing it safe. It's not the most senior person. It's just the first brave one. So here's the question. What are you avoiding right now that everyone else can feel? That's your starting point. Number 3, start with yourself for real. This is where most people check out because it's so much easier to look at everyone else. It's them. They're the problem. It's that one person. It's leadership. It's the system. And sure, some of that might be true. But here's the harder truth. Some of you are frustrated with your team while your team is quietly frustrated with you. And nobody's saying it. And that's the breakdown. So instead of asking, what's wrong with them? I want you to try this. What am I doing right now that's making this worse? Where am I avoiding something? Where am I being inconsistent? Where am I choosing comfort over clarity? And here's the question that matters most. If my team experienced me exactly as I showed up this week, would I be proud of that? This is the work, because you can't lead a culture somewhere where you're not willing to go yourself. And when you start owning your impact out loud, it changes everything. Not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. Number 4, stop the silence. Invite that ask in. Here's something most leaders completely miss. People don't stop caring overnight. They just stop asking because at some point they learned it just didn't matter. They needed clarity. They didn't get it. They needed support and it didn't feel safe asking. They needed recognition and stopped expecting it. So they go quiet. And silence is what kills culture. So you have to break it, and it starts with a simple ask. What do you need right now that you're not getting? And then you actually listen. Not to respond, not to fix, but to understand. And then you go first. Here's what I need from you too. Because broken cultures aren't just quiet from the team. Leaders are also holding back too. And when nobody is saying what they need to each other, everyone's guessing and everyone is getting it wrong. So every unspoken need is a crack in trust. And every voice need, even if it's messy, is a step forward rebuilding it. So number 5, rebuild hope or watch people leave. So let's be real about something. If your culture has been struggling for a while, your people are tired and they've heard the talks, they've seen the initiatives, they've sat through the offsites, and nothing changed. So they stopped believing. And it's not because they don't care, but because they've been disappointed before. And if you don't rebuild that belief within them, your best people won't wait around. They'll go find it somewhere else. That's the reality. So your job isn't to pretend everything's fine. Your job is to give people something real to believe in again. So that means you paint a clear picture of where you're going, what you're doing. Don't be vague, be very specific. You remind them what's still strong here because it's not all broken. And you call out the progress constantly, especially the small stuff. Like, I saw how that conversation was handled differently. That's the shift. That's what we're building. Because People don't change when you tell them what's wrong. They change when they believe something better is actually possible, which is being hope-driven. And hope isn't soft, it's a strategy. So here's where this lands. If your culture is struggling, you don't need a bigger plan. You need braver leadership. Define how you work clearly. Stop waiting, act differently now. Look at yourself honestly. Break the silence both directions and rebuild belief on purpose. None of this requires a budget, but all of it requires, you ready for it? Courage. So here's the question I want you to sit with. Where are you tolerating a version of your team that you know isn't good enough? And what are you going to do about it in the next 48 hours? Not think about it, not plan, but do. Because culture doesn't change when you agree with this, it changes when you act on it. So if this hits you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to someone who needs to hear it as well. And if you're sitting there thinking, yep, we need this help, our team does, then let's actually do something about it. Because this is the work I do with leadership teams every day, helping you fix what everyone feels, but no one's willing to say. So details are in the show notes. Take a look. And until next time, stop waiting, start leading, and make the brave move. I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Small Brave Moves podcast. If you're wanting to take this work even deeper, I'm here to help. From engaging in inspirational keynote speeches to transformational coaching and workshops for leaders and teams, page-turning books, online courses, and enlightening leadership development retreats. There are so many ways that we can work together to take your leadership to the next level. For more information, check out the show notes, and let's do this together, one small brave move at a time. See you next week.